Boys. Cali King. In the morning.
Eric V. Mick V.
The guest in the house. Here we go.
Well, it's the Baka, baby. It's the Baka Boyz in the morning. In the morning, it's the Baka Boyz, and we got a special guest for you. His name is Gajin Fujita's in the house. Gajin, welcome to the show.
Nick B, you forgot his last name right now.
I did.
Damn it.
Thank you for helping me out, though.
What's up, man? Gajin, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man. Jump up to the mic a little closer right there. There you go. You in the building now.
Yeah.
So you're an artiste extraordinaire.
Something like that.
At what year? I mean, how old were you when you first started getting into art?
Well, I was fortunate because I had parents that were in the arts.
Yeah.
And my dad was a painter.
Okay. Nice.
So they immigrated from Japan in 1970 out to LA.
Okay. So you're in 1970. How old are you when you get here?
Oh,
I wasn't born yet?
I wasn't born yet.
Yeah, okay. Into the microphone. So you were born in Los Angeles.
Yes, I was born in Los Angeles.
To
72.
Chinese immigrants or Japanese? Japanese immigrants.
Yeah.
And so with them, your father was a painter. So did he bring some of the, the art skills from Japan to here? Or?
I believe so. The hard work and the ethics and all that that were apparent. And
of course, you had to. I mean, you're coming from another country, and you got to make something happen for yourself. Like this is we're leaving our home country and going to a whole nother country here and starting over from ground zero. That takes a lot of courage to do. So celebrate your parents. For doing that.
I sure celebrate my parents. Yeah, definitely. I feel for my mom though sometimes because she was like subservient to my dad. And I know a lot of immigrant families must have experienced that. And she couldn't do what she wanted to do because she was following my dad.
Her father, whatever he wanted.
That's part of the culture, though, right? That's taught.
That is part of the culture. But me growing up here, born and raised in America, you see other families that aren't, that are generations in, that where the women are a little bit more empowered.
Yeah,
and they have more rights or freedom to do what they want. And so I feel bad sometimes. My father had passed away in '96, so he's been gone for over
20 years, 24 years?
Yeah, something like that.
Okay.
So my mom couldn't get
acclimated to do her own thing, or she couldn't.
She couldn't assimilate to the LA culture, the American culture too well as go out and do what she wanted to do.
Right. So what were some of those things that you saw that she wanted to do, but she just didn't have either?
Well, I understood that she was like a jewelry maker or designer when she was living in Tokyo before they came out to LA. And, I wish I could have seen her like live out some of her dreams.
Her dreams,
right?
Yeah.
Definitely.
So were you able to do? You obviously were able to do it. Did you have other to live your dreams?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't really want to like follow in my dad's footsteps. But it was kind of rewarding when I understood that he came out to LA to study painting.
Okay.
At Otis College, which is in LA.
Okay.
And he couldn't study because he had myself and my brothers, and he ran into financial hardship. So years later, from '93, I started Otis.
Okay. Oh, you did?
Yeah.
All right. You went to school.
I went to school.
So you fulfilled his dream, kind of.
Yeah. It was kind of sad that he couldn't see me graduate.
Yeah.
But he knew that
what you were going for.
I was gonna.
So let's go to the foundation, the graffiti. You're part of a couple different pretty prominent crews here in Los Angeles.
Prominent.
Okay.
They old.
Okay. Well, what year did you start in these graffiti crews?
you know.
And how did you get in? Did you have to get jumped into the gang? Or did you just have to prove yourself like you had skills?
You know, so that's the thing about graffiti in hip hop, I think. First and foremost is that you get to survive to show your skills and your abilities to battle one another or other kids in the city.
Yeah.
Unlike gangs where your life is in the balance.
Right.
And that's one thing that attracted me too. It's like sports.
Okay.
You know, where you get to hone your skills and come back. If you've been defeated, you get to come back and try to prove to the others that you're worthy.
Yeah, it's a competitive thing. You're competing.
It's very competitive.
You know, you're competing.
Yes.
Who were some of the big taggers or big people or graffiti artists back in the day that you looked up to, that you liked?
So back in the days, there were some old dudes. Like in so it was like in 84, 85, right when I started getting bussed into a junior high in Mid-City from East LA.
East LA.
And that's when I got to see like all the different urban sprawls throughout the city.
Kind of opened your eyes to a little bit more, like
definitely
just growing up in East LA, and then all of a sudden you're in Mid-City.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, and all of a sudden you're going to school. It's very diverse, you know. And you had kids coming in from the Palisades. You had kids that were from South Central. You had kids from Hollywood.
Yeah.
You know, you had kids like myself that were from Boyle Heights, and so we were all intertwined and mixed in this big soup. And it really opened my eyes. You know, I never seen like, it was like going into a movie when I started school in Mid-City, because you saw kids that were rocking Kango.
Right. all their different areas and stuff, yeah.
And, you know, I mean, you had the neighborhood gangs there that, like the Blood, they were all dressed in red.
Right.
I'm like, dang, you know, because in Boyle Heights, I was used to seeing people were a little late. A step late, because they were still into like rock and roll music. People were listening to Rolling Stones, Led Zeppelin,
right,
heavy metal. And then, bam, all of a sudden you go to Mid-City and you got like these black kids that are rocking, you know, Fila, gazelles, and, you know, they're breakdancing and rhyming.
Basically, like
hip-hop.
the beginning of hip hop.
Yeah,
you were there from the beginning of the hip hop in Mid-City. You were seeing it. You were seeing it spawned off from their cities, their hoods.
Yeah,
there now, and you weren't seeing that in East LA because they were still doing other stuff.
Yeah.
So you're saying everybody in East LA was still rocking Led Zeppelin, huh?
Yeah. I was going to ask you, growing up being Japanese and living in East LA, how was that for you? What were some of the trials and tribulations that you had to go through living there, being Japanese?
And it was all Mexican. It might have been actually Jewish too back in the day too.
Jewish. There were Jewish remnants of Jewish Americans as well as Japanese Americans as well. And it was tough because you know, my brothers and I were probably like the only Japanese Americans going to grade school there.
Wow.
But at first it was hard to assimilate, but then you get used to it, and I didn't know anything better than just being in the hood there. So I just got used to it, you know. Of course, there were the teasing and the hazing, you know, people were calling you names. Yeah. Every day, and it just toughened my skin a little bit.
But the hip hop, the homies or the other writers or other graffiti artists, they didn't. Were they teasing you as well, or it was like
no,
it was like a different culture. It didn't matter where you're from, right?
Yeah, I mean, graffiti, you know, breakdancing and the rhyming and the emceeing and all that, the music, I think they took off first, and they were getting recognized a little bit more. Whereas graffiti, we were like outcasts.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you guys were low key though as well, because you
had to be.
when you did your art.
Yeah, they were hiding
in the middle of the night. Nobody saw you what you did. If you're an MC or you're a DJ, you're a breakdancer, you're right there in the middle of the crowd and you're showing everybody what you got.
Yeah.
And then as a graffiti artist, you're like, when people wake up, you're like, oh my God, where did this piece come from? In the studio right now, we're with Gajin Fujita. And let's fast forward a little bit, because you took your graffiti artist and you took it into the art world. What was the breakthrough where, as an adult, or I don't know how old you were when it happened, when your work started getting looked at as a serious, art piece where it could be sold or it could be displayed in art galleries?
That came, like you said, fast forward. After I went to Otis College, where I did my bachelor's for painting, I had no idea like what I was gonna get into still.
Okay.
All I knew that I had a huge loan to repay. Because art school ain't cheap.
No, school ain't cheap in general.
In general now, yeah. But a good friend of mine and a painting professor there had asked me if I wanted to keep continuing to paint. And I was like, hell yeah, you know? So he sent me out to UNLV on a full scholarship ride to get my master's degree. And there I met, so my professor, Scott Greiger, was the professor that sent me out to Las Vegas. And there I met Dave Hickey, another mentor. And he was the one that kind of sparked with his words in my mind.
What could be possible?
What could be possible?
When we come back right now, we're going to have some more talk and more conversation with him, and we're going to get into the LA Library, situation.
Yeah, man, this thing is crazy. We're going to talk about that and more. It's the Baka Boyz right here, 44 after the hour. Hold up.
Gajin's in the house.
Gajin.
It's the Baka Boyz in the morning time, 52 past the hour on this Monday, June 10th, 2019. Gajin Fujita.
You keep messing up his damn name, Nick.
What are you going to do to me, Aaron?
Throw something at you, man. Come on, bro.
I'm sorry, man. Gajin Fujita is in the studio with the Baka Boyz. He's an artist, past graffiti artist. Started in the streets of Los Angeles in the 70s, or you're born in the 70s. So it was like 84, 85 when you started seeing all of these things around town and all this great work. So and then fast forward, here we are in 2019, and you have been commissioned to do the brand new LA Library card.
Wow.
In your
That's
art.
huge. That's huge.
This is an amazing feat right here. So how did this come about? Because I heard something about the library that you're doing this for. You used to go to these libraries.
Yeah, I mean, when I was a child growing up in Boyle Heights.
Yeah.
Stevenson Library.
Okay.
Was the library that I went to use their AC.
Use the AC
during the summer.
Yeah.
And that's where.
So when you walked into the library and you went, what were some of the books that you used to go and check out?
Do
you remember?
I do. There was this one book full of tropical fish, and I was into like colors even way back then. And that was the one book that I was into visual things. So
it was a good place for you to be then.
Yeah.
You can go and pick out all kinds of stuff that you don't have at home. You're not going to see in the streets, but right. What about the original folk traditional art from Japan that you now incorporate heavily into your work?
Yeah, I mean that came a little later.
Okay. And what was that? Why, when, and why was that?
So, my mentor from Las Vegas, Dave Hickey, who's an art historian, art critic on American art.
Okay.
He instilled in my brain to this day a quote that he said, great art should violate people's expectations. And that gave me like an epiphany, and it was from there I thought about maybe I could go tag on like the Golden Pavilion in Kyoto. That would be super violating.
Yeah. You could get killed for that, probably.
I don't know about being killed, but I'll be ostracized and banished from Japan. Yeah.
But being a LA hip hop kid, you know what I mean, with the attitude of hip hop, you know, and the graffiti in your heart, you know, did you do it?
No, I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it, man.
You couldn't bring yourself to do it. You still thought about it though.
I still thought about it, but I just brought it home.
Okay.
I said, well, forget this. You know, I don't have enough money to go travel to Japan anyways, so I'll use that money to go buy gold leaf and gold leaf my own walls.
Okay.
And that's where it started.
Okay, so what is this art called? What is the original, you know, traditional art called?
The traditional Japanese art that I reference, the imagery is called ukiyo-e woodblock prints.
Okay.
So they're just woodblock prints from like 200, 300 years ago.
Okay.
And they were being used like, you know, they were very cheap because they were prints. But some of them have survived, a lot of them, I should say. And, you know, some of these artists had influenced people in Europe, like Van Gogh was influenced by Hiroshige, you know. And, so it was a vast array of visuals that I could reference.
Yeah. And you still do it to this day. How many pieces do you have with some of this art that is inspired by this art?
So
several hundreds.
I wish, because it takes a while to work on them and to make them.
Okay.
So I'm up to about 210.
Wow, that's quite a feat right there. And your work has been displayed all over the world. Have you got a chance to go to all of these art galleries that have your work inside them?
Yeah, I mean, I've been out to Europe a lot. I had a dealer out in Germany and in London.
Okay.
So I've been out there and then, you know, just traveled around Europe from there.
And so when they came to you to commission this new library card, what were your thoughts? And the feelings just rushed back to you like, oh my God, this is kind of like this is like a full circle here.
It was definitely rewarding. You know, I felt very rewarded and privileged that I get to use my image on the face of the LA library card. It felt like I had a broader reach, a broader audience that I can touch. You know, now young kids can go pick up a library card and maybe I could touch them. Yeah, and it's free. It's free art.
I was going to ask you, you know, what kind of influence have you seen from, you know, commissioning on this library card? More people reaching out to you, you know, or other people that maybe want to get into art or want to, you know, have you taken on an understudy? Have you started teaching anybody else for the next to continue what you've already built?
Not directly. But I hope the influences are going to be out there.
Right.
And, you know, like I said, maybe it can touch a youngster out there to pursue art, pursue fine art. And there's hope and possibility.
Right.
Let me ask you a question. If you didn't go to college is it Odin?
Otis.
If you did not get a chance to go to college, do you think that you would be in a similar position that you are, or do you think that really helped to like solidify you in the art world, that you went to school and you have this thing, you know, I put in my time, I put in my years? Do people really look at that as, you know, like, give this guy a shot, he's in school, or do you think it wouldn't have mattered if you went to school?
You know, I think art is very difficult to gauge or to predict. It's unpredictable.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of great artists and talents out there that never went to school. You know, but they were probably really out there in front of everybody. You know.
Do you think school kind of could hold you back because of there's certain guidelines that you need to meet?
It can be different for individuals, I think. You know, it's up to the person to take what they can from school. And in my case, I thought school helped in that it gave me to pursue something and finish it. You know, to look at things and to look through projects and pieces to the end.
Finish it up, finish it through.
Yeah. And then also, school for me was a place of meeting people, meeting teachers.
Okay.
You know, and that was important for me.
Once again, we got Gajin Fujita in the studio. It's the Baka Boyz show. Tell us about your gallery in Venice right now. What's going on so people could come see your work?
Yeah. So I've been represented by LA Louvre Gallery. And it's out in Venice, 45 North Venice.
Nice. Little plug.
I've been working with them, like I said, for 18 years. And
well, they must like you then. I'm guessing.
I've been doing something right. Because they're commercial, you know, they got to sell work.
Yeah.
You know, they represent a great deal of many great artists. I'm probably like one of the younger artists there. Okay. They've got artists like David Hockney, who was in the Times magazine for the 100 most influential people.
Wow.
Oh, nice. That's pretty good.
I got a question for you. For those of us that are barely getting into art and purchasing, you know, some art, what's the range? What's the price range here? You know.
Am I allowed to say that?
If you want
a
to.
representative from the gallery said, "Come to the gallery.
Come and see the work."
She's like, "Come to the gallery."
And I guess it goes back to this whole thing. If you have to ask, you probably can't afford it.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
No, but that's why I liked doing the library card.
Yeah,
because it's free art.
You can have this.
I mean, there's a limitation, but there's 100,000 out there.
Right.
It's beautiful, man.
You know, and
I love that.
That's what I mean. It can touch people, you know, whereas, and they can go out to any of the 73 public libraries in the LA County
and grab yourself some free art and a library card.
Yeah.
Make sure to do that. Go online and check this out. What does this represent? I'm looking at it right now. I know I can tell there's a man, his arms in the air, and he's wearing a Los Angeles Dodgers shirt.
Yeah.
Okay, but it's so much more than that.
Right, he's got a blue rag too, though. So is this gang related?
It's a little gang related.
Okay, I don't want to make sure.
There's a little Boyle Heights in there.
I mean, do the people at the library card know this?
Well, yeah. I was like, are you sure you didn't pick this? No,
they picked it.
So the library, LA Library, in downtown, the Central Library, Peter Persick, the director of PR there, he was the one that chose it and selected it. And it was funny because they came over and shot a little short video on me at my studio. And he was telling me the story, how it all went down. He was like, you know, flipping through images, like maybe 30 other artists from LA that the Department of Cultural Affairs had sent to him. And, you know, he was flipping to the end and he stopped when he flipped to my page.
That's the one that caught him.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he was like, I'm in deep shit if this guy don't say yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Wow.
But little did he know that this is a part of your history as well, being going to the library.
Yeah. He didn't know.
Free AC. Free air conditioning. Yeah. Dude, it's in the summer and it's hot. Where am I going? Yeah. I can't stay in this house in East LA. It's boiling out here. So we're gonna go to the library.
You know, I didn't grow up with AC. So.
It was a gift to be there.
So it's great. You're all famous. You did the library card. You got your gallery everywhere. Your work's being shown all over the world and stuff like that. I got the question that's burning in my brain right now.
Uh-oh.
What was your graffiti name?
Uh-oh. Here we go. Drum roll.
My graffiti name was Hyde.
Hyde.
How did you spell it? Hyde.
Like Mr. Hyde.
Mr. Hyde, HYD?
Yeah.
Do you think there's any pieces or any tags of you up around the city still that are not being covered up?
You know what? I think there's some like wet cement tags out there.
Okay.
Have you done any more lately? Just randomly like thought about it. Like, you know what? I need to get back to my roots, bro.
You know what?
You're getting lazy now.
There's many a times, if I ever have like an instrument or a tool, like sometimes I'll carry a scriber. Mm-hmm. It's something that you can scratch in.
Right.
It's got like a diamond tip, scratching on glass and windows and.
So when I go to the Chevron stations, you're the one scratching on the glass, trying to use the restroom.
So I think it's a good time for you to reintroduce your graffiti, because now they have these birds and these lifts and these all little scooters you can get away with.
Oh
God! Get away on those things.
Have you ever been chased by the cops because you were doing graffiti back in the day?
I've been chased a couple times. Never caught though. I got some wood.
That Boyle Heights in you, baby. You're not gonna get caught.
No, I knew how to run fast.
Let's talk about Boyle Heights. Obviously, being Japanese, growing up in a Mexican, neighborhood. What were some of the go-to spots that you love to eat? Like the places that you love to eat. What are your go-to spots over there in Boyle Heights?
Well, gosh. I know this is super generic. But
okay, what is it? What is
it's
it?
like King Taco.
Okay, King Taco. All right.
King Taco, El Tepeyac.
Oh yeah, we love El Tepeyac.
Evergreen.
Love that place.
There was Ciro's across the street from it.
Ooh, I didn't know about that one.
I think they may be closed.
Yeah.
Probably.
But they had great flautas. And some of the street vendors. There was one off of Lorena, right near Whittier. I walk by every day. I forgot the name of it.
Can you smell it right now? Just thinking about it.
I can.
Gajin Fujita was born in Los Angeles, grew up in Boyle Heights in the historic immigrant neighborhood just east of downtown Los Angeles. It's a pleasure to have you here, and it's a great honor to meet you.
Man.
Here.
My pleasure and my honor.
Let us know when Hyde goes back on the street, man. We want to know when Hyde is doing his things again, bro. Like for real.
For sure.
Congratulations, continued success. Where can people follow you on Instagram or your social media?
Yeah, so there's some current shows right now.
Where's your shows at?
So at the USC Pacific Asian Museum in Pasadena. Through July 14th.
Nice.
I have a piece there. And they've got a new director, Bethany, out there. I'll be showing out in New York City. In Brooklyn, Williamsburg. In a show called Beyond the Streets. There'll be like over 110 artists in there.
That's great.
Done by Roger Gassman, and that'll start on June 21st.
Okay.
And run through August. And you can always go check out work at LA Louvre Gallery.
Okay.
In Venice.
Yeah, we got to go see that. It's right there, available for us, real close to us.
Where's Hyde shows at?
Where's the Hyde shows at, bro?
Where's the Kids Gone Bad shows?
Kids Gone Bad, K2S,
Come on, man.
Succeed.
I want to know. Gajin Fujita, ladies and gentlemen. Round of applause. Go get your library card. Don't be stupid.
Radio how it's supposed to be heard. It's the Baka Boyz Show.
What's going on? This is Drip.
Every day.